Sonic Frontiers. Sonic fans cannot stop filming so much of the mystery the game presents. No, seriously, I can't even keep up. But one of these mysteries I want to figure out today is why does the game suddenly look, dare I say, good? Why is everyone all of a sudden reevaluating their opinions from months ago? What is the one specific thing that is changing the perception? Or rather, the perspective? Who is the real star of the show? Well, it's not who, but what? And that is the camera. Now, what does that have to do with anything that's going on? Well, the camera is just one thing separating Sonic Frontiers from any other previous titles, and we're going to take a deeper dive on the importance of it. So hopefully you can get a better perspective, see what I did there, on the influence it has on the potential future of the Sonic franchise. So let's break it down. I'm pretty sure we're all familiar with this clip, as people have been non-stop making compilations of it, but once this clip was released, it pretty much solidified my suspicions, where I realized why a lot of us are really loving this. Part of it is, yes, Sonic does look a lot more animated than your typical soulless void, but to some, the animation itself doesn't present too much movement, at least not compared to some of the breakdancing moves that Sonic can pull off. Nevertheless, people are soaking up the liveliness of this cutscene, and a big part of it is how the camera is set up. Notice how the camera angle aligns with the swaying of Sonic's movement, from zooming into the center to shifting down, left, up, and then back to the center again. This parallel movement in cinematography is known as tracking, and is a technique used to immerse the viewer in the experience. But the tracking here is actually a lot more graceful than it normally is. Combined with the technique of anticipation in animation, smoothly directs your attention to where it needs to be, such as Sonic looking down before panning the shot to his feet, or how Sonic gets ready to thrust his arm out so that the camera pans the shot to the left. It's such a theatrical approach and quality that turns something as simple as this into something that just feels more dynamic, which is what Sonic should be known for. I mean, just imagine if the animation played out to just the level complete screen that we've seen time and time again. Wouldn't be nearly as impactful, huh? So a chef's kiss to the person behind the camera. But it's not just seen in this place, but all over the place as well. Subtly, but very often. Another example is the entire cutscene where Sonic goes up against the Titan. Each shot directs your eye into the impact. The subject has an anticipated movement, which is followed by the camera's parallel direction, and it helps lead your eye gracefully even though the shots itself can be angled completely different. We can even go as far as the in-game bosses, and the overworld has this sort of movement as well, like slowly panning the camera over the entire scenery when going up against the squid, changing the perspective on the rails, and when using all these new abilities in Sonic's arsenal. It all enhances the subject's charm, in this case Sonic, which is a very similar situation to another Sega game, Bayonetta. It's charming to see Bayonetta direct the flow of combat in these cutscenes, almost as if it was a theatrical movie, knowing that we're living in her world, or well in this case, his world. And although some of the animations itself may seem a bit janky, the camera is what captured everyone in, which again enhances Bayonetta's personality. I cannot tell you how much of an exciting subject this is for me. This type of stuff is exactly what contributes to why many of you actually enjoy my videos. Because if you go back and see many of my other videos, shameless plug, if you pay attention, you can see the subtleties of how I can direct your attention, sometimes without you even knowing. It's also probably why many of you enjoy the trailers that I produce, even though for the most part I'm using a boring old 2D perspective. But just like what's separating me from other creators is equivalent to how Sonic Frontiers is separating itself from other titles. We're both trying to immerse you in the experience, so maybe it's time to give credit to the Lakitus of media, as I think they're the real star of the show. But anyways, subscribe to the channel to keep up with all this momentum. It only takes about 2 seconds for this absolutely free content, and you could always change your mind later. Mr. Bane out.